And now, a different Christopher, uh, contributing this beautiful, tranquil score. Really, some really lovely colors in here, and some great ideas. I really love the idea of the marimba playing tremolo right in there, alongside a finger tremolo, the finger tremolo of the second violins, and that is playing behind the or alongside the clarinets. It's just really really cool ideas. That'll have literally that'll have a cooler sound, and it's just a nice way to sort of wake up. It's really just a shame once again that the cymbal roll sound is just so brutal for Note Performer, at least Note Performer 1. It just really, I mean, come on, guys. It's like a rock cymbal sounds are great, but they're just not appropriate for an orchestral sound set. I mean, that's just really really ridiculous. I think that you can get like the nicer roll by adding another tremolo beam in some cases. I think with is that with the Sibelius sounds. So anyway, yeah, but it's just really kind of silly. But yeah, it's nice that in at least in my mind, my own sound set, my own internal sound set, that works great. And then allowing the timpani to sort of cool things down. This is really neat in here. These horns rising, but you know what I would say is just do 1 and 2 instead of 1 and 3. All right, because you just get a better result with the two players. Like what you want here is absolute perfect intonation, correct? So you're going to get that with horns 1 and 2 better than you're going to get it with horns 1 and 3. Okay, like just read my blog post or my chapter in the 100 more orchestration tips. But like you just get that chapter for free if you haven't got the book yet. But just read my chapter about the horn section roles and relationships. All right. I'm trying to think what was the exact name of the chapter, but yeah, but just look, the first and second, those two players have the closest relationship, and so it's really better to have them work together on stuff like this. Okay. I mean, yeah, I know that's a Ravel thing to always kind of double up the first and the third, but it's just really not necessary. Other than that, your horn scoring is pretty cool. Like if you're going to do this, then you might as well do this as odd two as well, right? Now, you probably were wondering, oh, wow, that written D was just so loud, and I'll show you why. This is why. Is because of this. This is sort of marked for second voice, right? So let's get the keypad up here. So like this, really, if you just go all, it changes to blue, and then it will keep that high D, written D, from still staying in mezzo forte with dynamics. All right, so that's just a little note performer or sound set, or like Sibelius play kind of trick, I should say. It has nothing to do with note performer. And the same thing is true here. Like this should be marked. Let's go back to that keypad. Yeah, as all. Well, I guess that one, you did get that one all, but the first one was just the second voice. All right. So anyway, so yeah, so let's go back to talking about the orchestration. So you're starting off here, just first oboe, and then you're going to octaves here in the oboes with harmony from your three flutes. So this is really delicate, throwing in this F right in here. And I just feel, not to be too purist about it, but I just really feel that is almost wasted. It's almost, when you get to the crescendo, that is when this lower flute is going to, like flutes 2 and 3. So it's really A2 on the lower, on that lower tone. So it's just barely, going to work. So yeah, I mean, there just have got to be more secure ways of getting that pitch. Like, whether it's like a high bass clarinet sound, really soft, would probably do the same exact purpose and sound about the same, and you wouldn't have to fiddle around so much with so much doubling. All right, but this is all good right in here. Like you get up into a higher register of the flute before things get too massive. Okay, and the harp is mostly going to be heard right here. It's going to sort of drop out. Celesta as well. It'll be really hard to hear that against so much activity. Okay, but it's still pretty good. Yeah, so right here you're going all the way up to E with the oboe, which is going to be fine because there's so much doubling here, the strings and the flutes and so on and so forth. Okay, so pretty well orchestrated, I would say, right in here. Just really nice. Okay, so now we've got our ya-dee-dee-da-dum, da-da-da-dum. And once again, people are overemphasizing the harmony note as opposed to the actual melody note of the repeated E in the middle. So, but that's all right. Yeah, and like this Celesta, like if everybody really is pianissimo, crescendo to mezzo forte, then this will be heard. Now, once again, as I mentioned before, and I'll probably mention quite a few times because people are using a lot of Celesta in this. Celesta really doesn't have much of a dynamic variety. You know what I mean? It's just really it's kind of an on and off sort of a thing. You can kind of like the instrument itself can have its own dynamics, but that dynamic range is still like really like as loud as it can possibly play as mezzo piano compared to the rest of the orchestra, right? So just imagine this is, mezzo forte on a celesta is about piano for the rest of the orchestra, so that that kind of gives you an idea of how effective it will be to hear the celesta right in there. And then then this is all going to work fine. Okay, so about the only problem I had right in here is I want you to think about something like with contrasting like call and response stuff. When you give the strong part to instruments that are already strong, and you give the weak part to instruments that are gentler by comparison, then what is the effect? Right? And especially if you mark them dynamically the same way, what is the effect? Well, the effect is that it really there's a sense of weakness to the quality of the response, right? Whereas if you reverse it, like what if the naturally softer instruments are the strong voice and then the stronger instruments are the weak voice? Then you have you maintain, even though you have the dynamic shift and everything, but you maintain that level of that kind of level of intensity, right? So right here, I would say don't mark these guys pianissimo. If you really have to have it this way, if you want your guys to be mezzo forte right in here, fine. I would say mark this piano, right, rather than pianissimo, because it just really it just kind of like the drop off just feels like it's a projection thing, right? It's not so much a dynamic thing, right? It's a sense of maintaining the frequency, the strength of the little sound waves moving through the auditorium. Okay, and then you've got this blum blum. Okay, then bum 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 bum. Okay, and this is nice and strong. Octaves on the melody. There have been a few arrangements that sort of took the like the one before that did not have the strings as the top line. did not have a string voice, did not have first violin on the top line of a big combined chord like this. So this, I feel that that's like the strongest of them all, right? Is to have those octaves playing right in there. Yeah, so nicely harmonized. That is all going to work great. Yeah, just really absolutely no problems with any of this. And then everything mellows out here right at the end, so long as this really is piano. However, like, you could completely leave out these A3 flutes, right? And just leave in maybe A2 oboes, right? So long as you've got the strings here, or the violins, because you've got this one single note by the horn sounding the same G, is going to basically, even if you have it controlled, like, remember how I showed you to have the voice, the dynamic be all, so that high written D wouldn't just shout out like that so much, as we heard in the playback. Okay, so even if this is controlled, it will basically just swamp everything, right? Like, so I would say mark this pianissimo right here at the end, right? And then don't bother about the flutes. Have maybe A2 oboes right here, and then definitely have strings right there at the end on that note. And then you will get a nice, beautiful balance right in there. All right, so there's a lot more I could say. It's really hard for me to keep down to 10 minutes. I'm failing miserably, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm glad to give everybody a couple extra minutes here and there of evaluation with these first few scores. And yeah, this just right at the beginning, I really love the fact that we are getting so much variation and so much different approaches and different levels of experience and growth and everything else, and so really fantastic score, and really enjoyed looking at it. So thank you so much for your support. And now on to the final entry for this first group of minimum entries.